Welcome to Second Earth Alternative. This is your host, Felipe Osorio. So let's get right to the chase. In an interview with George Stephanopoulos, Donald Trump admitted that he was debriefed on UFOs. But does he really believe in it?
You and I, we know we disagree about that, but we have a whole day ahead to go on this. Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information in the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. Have you been briefed on that? What do you make of it?
I have. I think it's probably, I want them to think whatever they think. They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
Now, this isn't the first time presidents have given, wink wink, cryptic answers about UFOs. In fact, I would say it's kind of been a trend, at least for the last few presidents.
This is a question that I think is very important to me and very important to the country. And I go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president.
Ask you about your access to the files on the UFOs. Okay? President Clinton is here with us. We'll be right back. UFOs. Okay? President.
My daughters asked the very same question.
They did?
Yeah.
Would you be allowed to tell your daughters what was in those files?
No.
You would. I demand to see all the classified files on the UFOs. Because I want to know. I'd want to know what has been going on. Did you do that?
Sort of.
It's at
The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, you know, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so. Expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so the twitch,
There's also Area 51. You remember there was a great sci-fi movie where there was an alien kept deep under the ground? I had people go look at the records on Area 51 to make sure there was no alien down there. And people thought,
Are you not telling me that you looked at them?
I'm not telling you nothing.
Now, the answer that was most unclear to me was, I want them to think whatever they think, which semantically basically means nothing, because why would I not want you to think what you think? I mean, think about it, and pardon the pun. Wouldn't the opposite just be categorically a psycho? But I think the point is that he was kind of talking around in circles. My impression is that Donald Trump is not particularly into this idea, but has evidence to think otherwise. Now, if you notice his initial reactions, he kind of has this look of disgust, either because he thinks it's silly, or another option could be that he doesn't like the topic in general, which is very common for powerful people, hence his answers that he wants others to think or quote-unquote believe what they think they saw or think it is. But, you know, it just doesn't seem like he's too into this idea. And it's important to note that he did claim to have a brief debriefing on it. So what do you think the meeting was about? Because it certainly couldn't have been about the mass psychosis that is happening to our society, which would be the only other viable explanation outside of unrecognized intelligences. Now, Coast to Coast AM author Tim Donal states in his article, undoubtedly his personal dismissal of this phenomenon is disappointing to hear and will likely be the focus of mainstream headlines concerning this conversation. Yeah, maybe true. And I can see how the media would certainly attempt to spin this subject in a direction that would favor their interests. Actually, come to think of it, Given the recent findings that 92% of coverage related to Trump is negative, this could actually place the media in this awkward stalemate. UFOs or positive Trump coverage? Wait a second. In other news, Miley Cyrus has adopted a new puppy. She called him Rec. Talking about awkward moments, probably my favorite aspect of the interview was the moment that Trump stumbles on his own words when he uses pilots, of all things, as a justification to dismiss UFOs. Understandably, I could see why he would have stumbled on his words.
Sober military pilots saying something that we can't explain is happening.
That is correct. You're talking about individuals who have very high security clearances. They are trained observers. We've actually paid them and put them through schools to be trained and very keen observers to scrutinize what they're seeing. These are individuals who we trust to fly weapons platforms, sometimes with live munitions, over U.S. cities and to fight and win wars on our behalf. And they're reporting to us that they're seeing something that they can't explain, and it's also being backed up by the video evidence and the radar data and other witnesses.
Of course, probably realizing that this is not a good example, he falls back on his statement and admits that pilots indeed see crazy things.
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
Now, what fascinated me about this answer is that I've only spoken with 2 pilots. One was my drone pilot license instructor, and the other one was just a Southwest pilot that I happened to speak with at the end of the flight from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Both pilots, I ended up asking if they had seen anything related to UFOs. And I swear, it's the only pilots I ever asked this. And both, very seriously, albeit with just a bit of surprise that I would dare ask such a question, well, they told me that they personally had not, but many of their friends, their co-workers, co-pilots, etc., well, they had. And surprisingly, they seemed pleased to talk about it, as if there was some kind of cathartic release of finally having been able to talk about something that was taboo in just a regular conversation type way. So I believe, yeah, not only do pilots see UFOs, they do so much more often than is often admitted by the layman person who might be uninitiated on UFO research. So after tripping on his own comments, Donald Trump finishes off by stating,
they're a little bit different than in the past, so we're going to see.
Which is really interesting, because outside of the aforementioned presidents, there was also Jimmy Carter, who had actually admitted that he had witnessed a UFO, and possibly even Ronald Reagan. So it seems that downright denial is not even happening as of late, as if everybody has, I don't know, something to hide. If they're not real, why not just say no? Psychosis, mass hallucinations are not good for society, so no, they're not real. And let's not forget John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's former campaign advisor, who was so adamant about getting the truth out regarding UFOs. So if I could reply to Donald Trump in his comments, I would say,
He says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Anyways, so if you've been following the episode, you will know that we have recently reintroduced a remote viewing session. To those who are not familiar with this, it's a form of kind of psychically trying to view something with a protocol that was established by the CIA. Well, let me tell you something. Very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We only had a few guesses, but of the few trials that we had something that I would definitely consider a hit. Now, she may not have gotten the exact animal correct, but certainly claiming it to be a solo shot of an animal, well, that was kind of enough for me to say this is a second Earth remote viewing hit. But of the animals that she did choose, you'll see why her guesses might have been on track. Now, we do wax seal the envelopes, and I opened the envelope on what was supposed to have been the last episode, but due to the recent online censorship issues, I kind of decided to leave that video unpublished. Well, at least for now. So pardon the difference in the tape, but if you're curious to see the remote viewing episode, please stay tuned. But this time, I'm going to post the answers from Paper Crane Wishes. Let's open it. She had talked about that what she was seeing was a solo shot of an animal. She had guessed it could be maybe a dinosaur, it could be a frog, but here it is. It's a frog-looking dog that's eating a ball like a dinosaur would be eating a prey. No, I don't know. I have no idea what she was seeing. But the fact that she said a solo shot of an animal, I think, is an excellent. I think it's very close. I think it's close enough to consider a hit. But what's even more impressive, I don't know if you guys knew this, this isn't the first time that she's gotten this. She's actually been correct. She's actually one of our previous winners when we first started the remote viewing session, when we had a picture of Garfield, and she said that she saw some fluffy orange thing. Though she said she saw an animal the second time, I don't think she saw an animal the first time. So this isn't just like a animal, let's do a remote viewing thing where everything I choose is animals. I think this is only the second animal I've ever chosen. So congratulations, Paper Crane Wishes. Now I wanted to highlight her site as she has a nice little business on the side. Now I have hidden another card for those who want to participate on the next remote viewing session. Just make sure you write RV Colin and I guess your best prediction. Now on the next episode, I'm going to be reintroducing a CIA file that we discovered. The best adjective I can give you to describe it is, well, kind of a smoking gun document. Now I posted the link to a viewer and within half a day the post was deleted. Now I'm not sure if it was by the viewer or YouTube, but I thought, what better time to make this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Felipe Osorio, signing out.